where did Satan come from? What is curious is that the Bible does not actually say. You may have learned in the past that Satan was a great angel, God's greatest creation, and that he exalted himself and rebelled against God. As a result, God cast him out of heaven together with 1/3 of the angels who rebelled with him. That's the story we usually tell, but that's not explicitly taught in Scripture. That story is actually pieced together and surmised from various different passages. For example, in Luke chapter 10, verses 17 and 18, Jesus says, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven." But in context, Jesus is speaking about Satan's defeat through Jesus' exorcisms. This does not seem to be his original fall from heaven. The part about 1/3 of the angels actually comes from Revelation 12:4, where the dragon, which is Satan, sweeps 1/3 of the stars from heaven with his tail. Now, the stars may represent angels, but this is not clear either. Most of our teaching about Satan actually comes from Isaiah chapter 14 and Ezekiel 28. These passages may sound familiar. Isaiah 14:12 says, "How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn." The word morning star in Latin is Lucifer, which is where we get that name, Lucifer. But in context, it's a title, morning star, not actually a name. Ezekiel 28:13 through 16 says, "You were in Eden, the garden of God. You were anointed as a guardian cherub." That's an angel. "You were filled with violence and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the Mount of God and I expelled you." Now that may certainly sound like Satan, but in context, it's referring to the king of Babylon in Isaiah and then the king of Tyre in Ezekiel 28. These are human kings who exalt themselves as gods and so are killed in battle. Now, it's certainly possible that these texts are using language originally about Satan to describe these human kings, but that's not explicit or clear in the text. So the origin of Satan is shrouded in mystery. He must have been good at first, since all of God's creation is good. That also means he must have turned against God at some point and rebelled. But that's all we can say for sure. What else we do know is that the Bible describes Satan as God's archenemy. In fact, the name Satan, or Shaitan, means adversary. He is a deceiver and a destroyer. But he has already been defeated by Christ's death on the cross and will be ultimately destroyed at the second coming of Christ, when Christ returns.